right, everybody, welcome, hello, and welcome to the studio this evening where we're going to be painting that little guy over there, a puffin. I'm so excited. Last week we did a penguin. This week we're doing something a little bit more northerly. We're going to do a puffin. I can't wait. I'm going to jump right into this. I guess before I jump right into it, I should say, the paints that I have over here on my right-hand side are my M-Gram paints. The paper that I'm using today is Fabriano Studio watercolor paper, 140 pound. It is rough. I'm sorry, it's not rough. It's cold pressed. When we get a little color on there, I'll show you the texture on the top of that. And for much of my painting this evening, I'm going to be using my, there's the logo on that one. I'm going to be using my King Art brushes. There they are. These are the 90-20 brushes. And let's see, what else do I need to talk about? I think that's about it. I'm going to jump right in. Anybody who's here, welcome. Thank you for joining me. I hope you're having a good week, a start to your week. I hope you're having a fantastic start to your week, actually. I'm going to put a little bit of water on this guy in what I would call the white area of this puffin's face, and we're going to get to his body here in a second. It's not really white. It's got quite a bit of color to it, but it's subtle color, and we can think of it as white. So let me wet that, and then we're going to add some color onto it. I just want to get this wet a little bit. I do move my page around a little bit, maybe a little bit more than most. I apologize if that is bothersome to you, but it makes painting a lot easier, a lot easier. And I'm going to come back with a little bit of neutral tint. This is wonderful purpley neutral. Which one is my neutral tint? This one is my neutral tint. I want to get a little bit of color on here. This will add like a little bit of shading to the painting. It'll help start to build up some dimensionality on the painting. It is purple, which means it's a little cool. We're not gonna allow it to stay that cool color. I should say this purple is a little bit on the cool side. We're not going to allow it to stay cool. We're going to come back in and warm it up a little bit as we move through this painting. But I want to get a little bit of color on here. I just start to get a layer going of some of this color. I think that's probably pretty good. If it's not exactly what you think it is to begin with, if it's not perfect, that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to do this in many layers, and we can come back and adjust the next layer as we want to. Ooh, this has got a little color left in it. I just picked this up out of my bin, my mug, I guess is a better way to say that. And it's got a little bit of a blue color in it. I think it'll be okay. And I'm painting the white areas here. If I go over the lines into the black area, that's totally fine. Completely fine. Shouldn't matter in the least because that black, that dark color, is going to be a lot darker, and it'll go right over top of this light color that we're putting on right now. I picked this image out because I liked him. He's cute. He's dancing here. He's having a good old time, or it looks like he's having a good old time. And when I see a fun picture like this, I want to give it a shot. It's so much better than just something that's kind of more static there. Dwayne is here. Welcome, Dwayne. Great to see you. I don't know if you're in part of the freeze that's going on across the country. If you are, I hope you're staying warm. I hope everybody's safe at your house. While you guys are all freezing, while the rest of the country's freezing, I'm here in California on the coast, and I'm suffering. I mean, I am suffering through 70-degree days. It's difficult. The nights that get down into the 40s, it's hard to deal with. Last weekend, I went out to the lake, and it was, on Saturday, it was quite warm. But I do feel bad. I grew up living through snowstorms and blizzards and everything. I feel for everybody who's got to go through those. That's incredibly tough. Not a fun time at all. And again, I'm just trying to get some color on here, and if it matches exactly what it is, what the shading looks like on that reference photo, awesome, that's great. If it doesn't, that's okay too. I'm not going to sweat it too much, and a lot of the time, if it doesn't match that, that's even better. Right? We get to come up with something that's new and interesting. I'm totally happy if it doesn't match that, but I think that's about as much as I want to play with that for right now. We've got a little bit of nice color on there. If you're just tuning in now, no, the whole thing is not in black and white. It's an actual color painting, I promise you. Looks like my audio mixer is way up. I'm getting a little distorted. I talk pretty loudly, so I'm going to turn that down a little bit. Hope to not blast anybody out too much. Colder here, even colder. Those coming the weekend. Teens for lows. That's too cold. I've been out of it for too long. Dwayne, I feel sorry for you. I'll send you some positive thoughts to help get you through it. But for me, I can't do it anymore. Jesse Blue Jay. All right, Jesse Blue Jay. Very cold here in central Ohio. The kids have been out all week and tomorrow as well. Well below zero in the wind chill. So last time I went through a cold snap in central Ohio. And first of all, Jesse, thank you for joining the stream. Thank you for contributing. And I hope you're a Buckeye fan in central Ohio. I grew up in Ohio. I grew up in Northeast Ohio. Very cold. Spent a decade in Columbus. Absolutely loved my time, but kind of moved on from that. Last time I was there, and we had a big snowstorm, though, I was working on campus, and OHIO, there you go. And a cold snap came through. It just so happened that was the day my brother, who was attending the University of Cincinnati, was driving through town. He stopped in. I had this old Army trench coat. I actually walked to class, but a lot of the students who were there at the time, because Columbus doesn't get cold winters. It's more like a southern city. They weren't dressed for it, and the James Medical Center admitted like 20 people in with frostbite by like 9 a.m. and the university went, "No, we're done. We're calling it." It was freezing cold, freezing. Studike's here. Hello, welcome. He said, "Hey, big dude, what's cooking?" All right, so this is how I do it, right? I put on a little color on the larger areas, and then I wait and I chat. What I'm waiting for is for this to dry out a little bit. It's getting there. I'm gonna get a little bit, mostly of this gamboge, right? I love gamboge, a fantastic color, and I'm going to put on a first layer of his feet here. Now, if you look at the reference photo, and actually, let me do that. Let me let you guys see the reference photo. There you go, a little larger, a little easier for you to see. You don't have to zoom in or squint or anything like that. So you can see this guy looks like he's having a good old time. I don't really think he's dancing. I just want to tell myself that he's dancing and having a good time. But nevertheless, he has one foot kicked out to the side there, and it looks like he's dancing. But he's got these super bright, super orange feet hanging out there. One of the things I like about this image. A number of things I like about this image. But the feet and the legs are one of them. I also like that a lot of the time, to me, puffins really look sad. They're like, oh, they got the sad eyeballs. And they just look, oh. And while this guy still has a little bit of that sadness going on, he does look pretty happy, I have to say. He's, I would imagine if he had flown over to Great Britain, he would have a bowler hat on, and he would just have gotten up off of his chair from a cup of tea or something like that. I don't know. I'm make things up in my head. It's something I'm telling myself. And we got the same orange, or maybe it's not the same orange, but it's a bright orange nonetheless up here. And I don't know what this is. Right next to where his bill joins his mouth here. I don't know what this sac is called. I don't know if it's a sac or an opening or a lip, a part of a lip. I don't know what this is called. This big orange thing right here. But it's another wonderful pop of color. Dory, come on, get over there, Dory. Stay up there. I know it's not Dory's fault. It's my fault. Let's see. What else can I talk about today? I seem very talkative today. I'm gonna do a little bit more on his beak. I'm gonna try to follow rules on his beak here and build up colors. Okay. And if you look at his beak, and I can put the reference photo back up there for you. What you see is the part that I'm painting here has this ochre color to it. I'm going to try not to touch the yellow that I just painted. Let me put that back up as I explain it. Right, it's got this ochre color right next to his head. And then there's a black piece, but throughout that black piece, there's still some of this beautiful ochre color that extends out. And then there's a line of it, kind of like a triangle or an arrow shape of that line, that ochre color, before it gets into that bright, vibrant pop of orange and red there. And it's that bright color that I really want to try to capture. In fact, I think I've got that ochre on here. I think I'm going to put some of this orange on as an undercolor. Actually, you know what? This azo orange that I have is even a brighter pop of orange underneath here. So I'm hoping I can just build up a couple of layers of this color here. And by the time we put I'm thinking Pyrrol red, that super cherry fire engine red color. By the time we put that on the very top layer of this, we'll have a couple of layers underneath, and we'll get this great depth. At least that's my hope. Whether it's going to work out that way or not, I don't have any idea. No clue. But that's the plan. Is that dry? That is mostly dry. I always worry about putting my hand on a wet surface. I guess that's one of the drawbacks of continuing to move my page, is that wet area keeps moving right along with me. And I just touched that. I've got a little bit of those colors running together. Okay, so now I need to decide. We got somebody. So I said I was restreaming on Twitch tonight, and it looks like some old friends over there. You can see right there. Looks like some old friends have stopped by to say hello. It's Minty Mintington. Been a while, but Thirsty and I wanted to say hi and what's up. Thank you for joining. So Minty and Thirsty for a Brew are some of the OGs. They started watching me on Twitch years ago before I ever gave up streaming over there. Hopefully now I'm going to be able to be back. I can restream. Everything looks like it's going very well on my end. I uninstalled everything, reinstalled everything. I think I've got the settings right. Actually, about, I'm going to say 3 minutes before I started to broadcast, I actually looked at my stream and I went, whoa, wait a minute. I think my settings aren't quite right. And I went in and I changed them, and I think I've got some settings right now, and we're going to be able to do this without having any real problems. Okay. Whew. Take a breath. Anyway, hello, Minty. Hello, Thirsty. Where's my camera? Hello. Thank you for joining. Great to be back with you guys. I need to decide what dark color I'm going to use. And I don't even remember what I used last week. Quite honestly, I don't remember in the least. But I do know that Natalie suggested a brown. She uses burnt sienna. I have burnt umber. Burnt sienna, a little more orange, and ultramarine, and that makes a wonderful blue color. Blue. It doesn't make a wonderful blue color. It makes a wonderful brown color. Oh my. I can't speak. It makes a wonderful gray color. So here's a bit of that gray, the burnt umber on my palette, and ultramarine will make. Look, and we can, it's got some nice blue undertones to it. We can make it a colder color if we want by mixing in a little bit more blue. Wonderful. I think we used, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I think we used maroon perylene. Let me get a little bit of this on here, and I'm testing this out while the bird is over here drying, getting nice and dry. There's maroon, and then we used turquoise, if I'm not mistaken, and that gave us an interesting, wonderful purpley gray, if memory serves me right. And there's what we have with that. See, a wonderful, it is a little purpley, but if we pull it out, look, it's a lovely color. I might want to go with that again. That's so nice. I do want to give this a little more effort, because if I look at this bird, this puffin has a lot of brown in the feathers, and I was hoping I could mix up a dark here that had, ooh, look at that's a nice gray too. That had some nice warmth to it. Maybe I'll go with that. And if we need to darken it up, we'll put something else over top of it. I like that. Let's go with that. Let's go with that for now and see what happens. I'm going to mix up over here a little ultramarine blue and a little burnt umber. I'm going to mix it on my palette rather than on my paper. And with any luck, that's going to give us this lovely dark color. And where we need it to be just a little colder, a little darker, a little bluer, we'll throw in a little extra blue. And if we don't need that, we'll allow some of that beautiful brownish tone, brown gray, to come out of it. But let's see what this looks like. Let's just take a look. Everybody's gone quiet. Everybody's gone quiet. I feel like I'm all over the place already. I'm jumping around a little bit. I'm doing a little here and a little bit there. But I think it's totally okay. Jumping around a bit is fun for the painting, right? It makes it interesting. Makes it interesting for you when you're painting it. Helps you see more of the painting as you're doing it, rather than getting locked in, focused into one specific area. Right? There we go. Got some nice color on there. Right on his head there. There we go. Come on down. That looks pretty good. It's light. It's very light. I will admit it is very light. We're definitely going to have some additional layerages to do. There's a lot more to go on this. I'm actually hoping, I'm doing this in smaller segments. I mean, this, whole thing aside, but these little smaller segments, hopefully they're more manageable to do as an individual segment, and they'll dry a little bit quicker, and we'll be able to just come in and in very short order be able to go right back over top of them and fix them if there's ever an issue with it. So I have to say, last week when we painted the penguin, I love the penguin. I thought the penguin was fantastic. I took the penguin into work. I showed everybody the penguin. And the penguin might have become one of everybody's favorites in my office, or that I've shown everybody, that I've shown it to. Everybody loves that penguin. So I think this guy has a lot to live up to here. Right? This guy cannot let the South Pole one up the North Pole. So this Puffin's got a lot to do here to keep up with last week. I think he's going to be able to be just fine. All right, look at that. Look at that. We're starting to see a little bit here. It's starting to come along. Let's add some onto his wing. Are they winged? They must be wings. He's a bird, right? It's a wing, not a flipper. It's a wing. Just kind of acts like a flipper. Let's get some on his wing here. And then once we get this color on, we can start to see where we stand with some of this. Then we can really start to dive back in and adjust the colors, adjust the intensity of the colors, and do all of those things that make it really fun to do a painting like this. And you know what? I'm even thinking maybe I'll do another background on this. I don't know. I have some rocks. I drew kind of the rocks that he's doing there. Minty says, I can't see YouTube chat and don't want to monopolize the conversation, but I'd love to hear about your pets. Okay, cool. So first of all, Minty, you're not monopolizing the conversation. Please throw it out there. I am happy to talk about, and you, of course, how I'm doing. I'm happy to talk about everybody. Let's see. Since last you tuned in, I think... Well, let me ask you this question. Do you know who Frida and Cha-Cha are? Maybe that's the place to start. have you heard me talk about Frida and Cha-Cha? The YouTube chat is the YouTube chat. Minty, I do this with my Natalie's here. Hello. I do this with my my team at work too. You ask the questions. You raise anything you need to raise. I'll moderate the chat. If I need to guide it away from something, I'll guide it away. If I need to, is Frida chicken? Frida's chicken. If I need to guide it to something else, I'll guide it to that. You just keep asking, and I'll figure it all out on this end. So let me go back for all of our friends over there on Twitch, and especially for Minty and Thirsty. I got 2 new chickens. I'm up to 5 now. I think, Minty, you knew about Roxy and Blueberry and Dahlia, the previous set of little girls. And Roxy didn't make it. Roxy injured a wing, and I had to put her down. And then I couldn't bear to not have more chickens, so I got 2 new chickens. The 2 new chickens I got were Brahma chickens, big, very gregarious chickens, and they're named Frida and Cha-Cha. And Natalie, before I go any further, Natalie, I am restreaming on Twitch tonight. I think I've got it figured out. I've got Minty's messages going there. I don't have... or I should say I have Twitch's messages coming in here. I don't have them in the normal chat, and my connector going the other way from YouTube to Twitch isn't quite working right. I'll work on that. In the meantime, I'll get it going somehow. Paintbox Life is here on YouTube. Hello, welcome. So let's see. So I have the 2 new girls, Frida and Cha-Cha, and they're fantastic. They're fabulous girls. I love them very much. Cha-Cha is a character, and I'll just say it like that. She has taken to following me around. I told my wife I have a stalker, and my stalker's name is Cha-Cha. Cha-Cha would follow me into the studio here if I let her. She follows me around the house. Actually, I came home from work. This was funny. I came home from work today, and I went back to the coop to check to see if there were any eggs. And I got the eggs, and they came running from the side yard back to see me. Boop, 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 running in the funny way that chickens run. And then I went, oh, interesting. They're literally running to see me. I want to see if I can make them run a little bit more. So I went into the front yard on the other side of the fence, and I picked some weeds for them because chickens love weeds. Any kind of greens they can get, they love them. And they heard me. So I opened up the gate, and I walked back to about halfway back to where they were at. And of course they're looking up at me like, what's going on? And I went, I'm just going to run. I'm literally going to run to the backyard to see if they follow me. And I ran, and I looked back, and they literally are just trucking along as fast as they could. So I hand fed them with some greens, some clover from the front yard, and they absolutely love it. They're big girls. They are not small girls. They are about 3.5 pounds apiece right now, and they should be getting up to close to 8 pounds by the time they are full grown. So as I say, they are not small girls. They're quickly approaching a year old. Yeah, you know what? They actually are. They're quickly approaching a year old. I think in March they're going to be a year old. So that's them. Dahlia is just as cantankerous as always. Blueberry is super nice. Betty is super nice. Yeah, let me do most of this foot here. Penny, you know, I don't know when we spoke last. Penny has passed, unfortunately. She was such a fantastic cat. I did a painting of her on here last year, and I miss Penny very much. Your dog is 8 pounds. That's a big chicken. It is a big chicken. They're big. She's gonna be, I should say they're gonna be roughly, I don't know, 2.5, 3 feet tall. I'm telling you, they're big girls. They're big girls, but they're so nice. She follows me. She will follow me into the house, which is good and bad. I open up the shed to get some food out, and she'll just wander right in, and she will just kind of hang out in there, wait for you to move her. Let's see. Yeah, Penny has passed. My youngest now has a cat named Cowboy. All the cats at my house are black, all black, no other colors. So we have Shadow and Cowboy now, and I should say, Paintbox Life, don't go anywhere. Answering a question, feel free to answer your own. Trying to keep the conversation going. I do love to talk about my pets. If you have any pets you want to talk about, let's talk about those too. I'm also happy to answer any questions about watercolors, paint, paper, imagery, anything like that. So I'm just don't think I'm just ignoring anybody for any reason or whatnot. That's part of what happens on this channel. Get the kid up. That's part of what happens on this channel is there's a lot of life talk, a lot of pet talks, a lot of just goings on that people have in their life, and I think it's fantastic. I love that we all talk about whatever's going on. I think it helps to make this more of a community rather than just a channel. Did you know? How did you know I was scrolling up? I don't know. I didn't know you were scrolling. So please, if you got anything, throw it out there. I'm happy to talk about anything and everything seemingly. Let's see, that's all dry. Okay, so let's see. A little bit of this red, another layer of this red. I want to layer this red color. I actually want to layer quite a bit of this. Thin layers, right? I want to do thin layers, and I'll tell you why I want to do thin layers. If you give me 8 seconds, maybe 6, maybe even less than that. I was working on my truck, right? I think I showed my truck last week. I have the attention span of a flea right now. Okay, good. Then you can shift your attention from Puffin, which is turning out nicely, I think, to something that is completely different. How about this? Well, it's a truck. And I did this back fender one night. I don't know how, 40 minutes or whatever. I did this. I did all the arms at one point in time, and I've got some work to do on this. But then I came back in and I did the roof and the hood here, and I put my paint on too heavy, and I had to come back and take a lot of it off. And I don't like doing that. Which is why on this one, I want to do it a little less aggressively. A few more layers, especially if we have smaller areas like this. We can get them wet and dry more quickly. that layering adds, it keeps the, once again, I can't speak. It keeps the light shining through to the page without adding, there's no opacity. Old body, young legs. Jesse Boucher. I have three, not trucks, but three things like this that I want to do. This is a truck that has obviously hands for locomotion. Then I have a motorcycle that has legs instead of wheels. And then I have a digger that has a hand for a digger instead of a digger for a digger, a bucket. So old body. I like the old body, young legs though. I like that. All right. Okay. Now, so I like some of the body here. So I put this neutral tint on, and I was like, oh man, that might be too much. And now I've looked at it, and it's probably not enough. Same thing up here, right? When I put it on, you could see a lot of it. And now it's really dried. We can't see most of it. So I'm going to go back into... What I'm going to do is try to get the red color off. Here we don't need any red color on there. Or orange. And I'm going to add a little bit more of the neutral tint in here. And when we're done with this, with the neutral tint, then we're going to glaze over it with maybe an ochre or something like that. How did Kenya? Oh, Kenya's here. Welcome, Kenya. Glad to see you. Let's see, over on, somebody's going to tell me, Minty says, I picked a great image for today. Love the rusty images, and that mashup is great. Minty, thank you. I'm probably going to do the other ones. I don't know if I'm going to do my other mashups. That truck is kind of my trial. But I think I'm going to be doing the other ones either on Twitch or just a regular traditional video. One of the two. So be on the lookout for that. If you're in Discord and you see that pop up, you might have an opportunity to see me paint that. Let's see, we get some dark up here. And I look at my reference image, not so much because I want to duplicate my reference image. I've talked about my use of reference images before, and I don't think I use reference images maybe quite the same as everybody else. But the way I want to use it, especially for this guy, is to see where the darks are and maybe where the lights are, so I can make sure that his head has a proper shape. I don't care. Like through his body here, I'm much less concerned about getting the proper shading in there. As long as I have some around the edges, and you know that he's not just flat here, that there's some texture and roundness to his body. The rest of it can do whatever it wants to. But on his head has a unique shape. I want to make sure I get that represented in here. And so I'm going to do this and hope I don't get this too dark. Kenya said, you almost forgot about tonight. How could you do that? No, that's all good. You know what, Kenya? I'm glad you remembered. I'm glad you came. Thank you for that. Let's see. I should ask this. I kind of got away from doing challenges on, through my Discord channel. I did more. I started last year doing challenges and kind of ended up doing entire months worth of things, which is okay. Do you guys like the month? Like, this is a more of a nautical-ish kind of a month. It's not nautical like boats and beaches and docks and stuff like that, but you know, penguins and puffins and mermaids are all nautical-ish things. Kenya said that puffin is cute. Thank you. Do you like the themed months, or do you like the challenges where we just do crazy whatever during the month, and then okay, maybe not crazy is maybe not the right word, but then at the end of the month we focus on one kind of a one more specific painting. I actually kind of like the month-long themes, but I usually like them for 3 weeks, not for 4 weeks. If I'm being completely honest, and I could do that too. But honestly, I'm just curious. The themes are fun. I missed the challenge. Natalie says I missed the challenges, but life got kind of busy last year and I didn't have time to do them. Yeah, I get it. I totally get that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Life happens, right? Look, I wish life didn't get in the way of watercolor painting. But it does, and that's totally fine. Nothing wrong with that. And Kenya says the themes are fun, and the themes are fun. For sure they're fun. And you can dive into a little bit more with the themes, but that doesn't mean you can't do the themes and the challenges, I guess. You can do it like a mini theme for a couple of weeks or 3 weeks, something like that. Now this is where I'm just going to throw some random color on here. All right, I'm going to blend it out, and I want this to not be super in any one area. And it looks very purple right now. And I understand that. But if it dries as light as the last layer did, I think we're going to be okay. Now, those dots and splotches and everything that are on there right now should just help to add some texture onto the front of him. And it's very cold, I should say. It's very cold. That color is very cold. It won't end up being that cold. It's going to be much warmer than that. It'll be much warmer than that. When we glaze over top of this some of the yellow ochre, it's going to lighten this way up, or it's going to not lighten. It's going to warm this way up. Who was in charge of helping me speak tonight? It seems like I'm just not able to form words. Art by Carlos is here. Carlos, welcome back. Great to see you here. Wonderful to have you back here. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of... I'm going to take my orange here. What have you been up to, Carlos? I mean, I know you've been painting a little bit. I've seen you I've seen that you've been online doing some Twitch streams a few times. I will admit, maybe I didn't stop in and say hello every time. Sorry about that. I know you did one. Well, I want to say it was over the weekend, but if everybody remembers Jennifer, what's her name? Jen's Wild About Art. She was streaming at the same time. I stopped in to say hi to her. Talked about horses, actually, for a while. And I guess farm animals in general. That was kind of fun. And Carrie is here. Hello. All the way from Australia. There you go. Wow. Welcome. Welcome. All the way from Australia. What part of Australia are you tuning in from? It's a long way away. It's a long way away. Not that I'm going to know really where anything in Australia is. But I like to ask the question. I'm curious. I won't know, but I will go and look it up. But I won't know when you say it. Unless you say Sydney or... Yeah, basically Sydney. Perth, maybe? I don't know. I imagine that's what people from like Iowa think when I go, I'm from Ohio, and they go, yeah, that's over there. Doesn't affect me. Victoria. Okay, cool. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to find something out about Victoria. But I'll be totally honest with you. I don't know anything about it right now. Tell us something cool about Victoria. Or you can just tell me to be quiet. That's true. That's fine too. I feel like I'm putting you on the spot all of a sudden. I don't mean to do that. I don't want to put you on the spot. Jen's Wild About Art. There you go. Did she change her channel name? That's a great question. I don't know. I don't think so. Give me a second, Natalie. I'm going to find it. It is, if I can, it is it's Jen's Wild About Our Art. Jen's Wild About Art here on YouTube. And I think it's the same thing over on Twitch. I think so. And she restreams there and here, there being Twitch and here being YouTube. All right, cool. I think what I need to do, I like where this is going. Honestly, I like where this is going. There's a little extra work we need to do on this. But we need to really get some of this done now. Okay, that's dry. And I'm going to start with our color here. Burnt umber, ultramarine blue, there we go, and I'm going to throw a little bit of Payne's gray in there to even gray that out a little bit more. And why is my Payne gray so tacky? Burnt umber, ultramarine blue, and a little Payne's gray. All right, good, I like that. I was thinking, it might have been, Natalie, it may have been Jennifer Newman art. That could have been it. It could have been Jennifer Newman art. Yo, you might be right. All right. So I'm going to put this color on. And this is a little colder. We can warm it up a little bit. We need to. I'm thinking this is going to be like 3 layers of color here too. And I think I'm going to call it a bald patch on the top of his head here. I'm going to leave a bald patch here, which is going to be basically a highlight, right? A highlight. Let's see. Anybody else? Well, nobody else. Okay, so nobody else. I have to beg your forgiveness sometimes, because I look up and I read something on the screen up here, and then I kind of forget what I'm doing, and then I look down here and I start something else, and I forget where I'm at up there. Jennifer Newman Art rings a bell. There you go. Yep, she's been doing drawings more than paintings for a long time. I used to watch her because she's a much better drawerist than I am. She draws much better than I do. And I used to marvel at how she could just draw and had more of a sense of space and relative size than I do. And I was like, I don't know how you do that. But I think I'm a little better with color than her. I might not be. But I'd like to tell myself that. Okay, I guess this I'm not really getting wet. I probably should wet this whole area here, or dampen this whole area. Oh, and I didn't hold this up. I'm going to hold this up for you to see. And I'm going to do a little thing here which is interesting. Right, let's do this. Burnt umber. It's going to be ultramarine blue, and I want them both to be right here. And I'm going to let these dry, and then I'm going to show you something. Okay, dry. Yeah, I'll bet it was Jennifer Newman Art. And I think for the past couple of years, Jennifer was doing mostly digital artwork. And I noticed just, maybe it was over the weekend when I saw her, that she's back to doing watercolor painting, which I think is fantastic. But I will admit to being maybe a little bit biased on what the best medium to paint in is. A little bit. Maybe just a little bit. All right, cool. So we've got this, and actually I can see underneath this some lovely brown that's coming through from that first layer. I think that's great. Michael, look up Stallwell Easter Gift. Biggest foot race in the world. I live 20 minutes from there. Well, my keyboard's all the way over here. Stallwell Easter Gift. All right. Oh, there it is. Stallwell Easter Gift. So the one thing I can't do, I don't have it pre-set up, and I don't want to do it on the fly, is pull up a website and look at it, because I need to do a thing in OBS. Australia's oldest and richest short distance running race, 120 meters. Staywell. What did I say? Stallwell? Staywell. Yeah, Staywell. Oh, interesting. Started in 1878. Wow, 148 years ago. Holy cow. Well, that's cool. All right, so I've got something else to look at when this stream is done. All right, I got two things. That's cool. That's pretty cool. All right, let's see. We're looking good, right? And as we're going through here, I think this is one of the cool things about watercolors. And maybe we can throw a lot of different mediums in here. But what's neat is, you have just this field of white or white-ish color here. and it just kind of looks blah, right? If I cover this, you know, this part of the puffin just kind of looks blah, and then you put some darker color next to it, and all of a sudden it starts to stand off the page a little bit. So the more layers, the more of this goodness that we get on here, I think the better that's going to look. And then the next go around, we're going to warm that color up a little bit, and it's going to look even better, a little bit warmer, because it'll stand out against this dark a little bit better. Oh, you know what I was going to show you? Ooh, I've got only this. Oh, I've got a little bit. I can do it. Okay. So when you mix ultramarine and burnt umber, or at least when I mix ultramarine and burnt umber from my M. Graham paints, I get a lot more dispersion. Stall, that's how it's said. Oh, it's stall. Okay. I don't know. My eyes are terrible. So if I do these individually, I'm going to pull these up real close. Look, almost no granulation. Not much granulation in there, right? Now, of course, this is the back side of a page, but you can still see, if I hold it right, yeah, you can still see there's plenty of texture on that page. And you can see a little bit of granulation there, but not a whole lot, right? But if you mix those two colors together, it multiplies. Like, you can see how granular that got, and this is going to drop out. Already up there, you can see how granular that's getting. So you can add a whole lot of extra texture to what you're doing, and I should have showed that before I painted that wing, at least. I remembered that I wanted to, and then I didn't do it. So that's on me. That's my fault. But one of the cool things that you get from mixing your own colors that maybe you're not going to get if we just went with a black or a gray or something like that. Just, you know, a black or gray, just the way it is. I'm going to... where's my reference photo? Yeah, this has got just a little bit of a break right here. Like his stomach is just in front, that little bit. I think if I don't want to add too much there, but a little bit, and I think that's going to help to set that off just a little bit. Cool granulation from those. We are distracting. Yeah. Let's see if I can get it to. So here's my, well, this mix has got a little bit of Payne's Gray in it. But look, even just like that, look, all of a sudden you can see it just immediately, it's going to start to granulate that little bit. I don't know why. I don't know how. Well, I mean, I know how, but I don't know why it does that, but it does it. And it's kind of neat. All right. A little bit more on the legs here. And we can actually start to get up in, designate a little bit of fur that comes over top of these, if we wanted to at this point. Color all the way up. Here we go. Come over about like this. I should have done this properly the first time. All right, there we go. There's another foot. Oh, see, we're getting closer. That's a lot closer to that bright orange color of his feet right there. So much closer. It's getting better. It's getting better. We're rooting for you. We're rooting for you, Carrie. I used to watch you all the time, but I ended up putting my watercolor stuff away because I just couldn't get the hang of it. I pulled it out again to give it another try. So let me ask you. Yes, we're rooting for you. I'm rooting for you. Let me ask you this, and you can say it or describe it in any way that you want, and I'm going to interpret it Like nobody gets hurt if you make bad art. Don't I know that one? What was the biggest stumbling block for you? What do you think was the one thing that caused you to not get the hang of it? Awful to get good. You don't have to be awful to get good, but it's a quite common track to take in watercolor painting. But you don't have to. You can, if you really want to, you can skip that. I think we all choose the other path where we're not all that great, and we resemble it for quite some time. But I would like to know what if you can express it, all of it. Okay, all right. All of it. Well, that's okay. So I would do this if I were trying today to get good at watercolor painting, and I probably should do this. I probably should try to get good at watercolor painting because look at what I'm doing. I wouldn't paint something like this. I mean, I would, but I wouldn't. What I would paint would be squares and circles and rectangles, cones, cylinders. I would limit to a single color, and I learned to get all of the shading down pat, or not all of the shading, but I learned how to shade all of those and do it with a nice fluid wash all the way across. So if you're trying to paint something that's a circle, it should look like a circle when you're done. If you're trying to paint a box, it should look like a box when you're done. And the other thing I would do is I would make, and I personally did a ton of this, is, where's a pencil? I would take a piece of paper and I would draw some boxes. Okay? Draw some shorter, draw some longer, draw some fatter, draw some... There's nothing... Oh, believe me, there's a lot wrong with my watercolor art. And that's okay. That's okay. And you take a color, take whatever color you want, and start out on one side and make it a full bleed. And then go, I've got to draw that color out this far. How do I draw that color out that far? Right? What can I do that's going to allow me to pull that color out that far, staying within the bounds of the box that you're in, all the way down to nothing. So you've got this beautiful wash all the way, right? And if you do it on a box that's this wide, awesome. You now do it on a box that's half as wide. It's a whole different challenge. Do it on a box that's twice as long, the whole width of this page. It's a lot harder. And you kind of get the understanding of how that particular paint or how that particular pigment works on that paper with that brush, right? Because I promise you, if I tried that with... Let's get one that's going to be really difficult. If I tried that with this brush right here, right? My Da Vinci, I gotta make sure my bristles are nice and wet. All right, try this with my Da Vinci quill mop brush and try to do this. It's gonna be totally different, and I might not. I'm already too light. I'm already too light. So then maybe I'll start and go over it again. Just pull some of this out. Now I happen to know that this brush holds a lot more water in it, so I don't have to go back to my water tank quite as much, maybe. There we go. So now I've got one with this brush. It looks similar, right? Can I do this with different brushes? Can I do it with different paints, right? Are all my paints gonna work the same way, right? If I do this on, I don't know what paper this is, but if I do this on a different sheet of paper, can I do it on a different sheet of paper? I don't know. But those are, if I were trying to start and do some watercolor painting, that's where I would start before I really did a whole lot of landscape painting or, you know, individual image painting or anything like that. Because once you master those simple, and I'm not saying the painting is simple, the shapes are simple, the simple paintings like that, then you can step up and do all kinds of other stuff. You can totally step up and do all kinds of other stuff. And if that doesn't work, let me know. I'll help you. I'll do a private video with you and help you out. Doesn't matter to me. I want people to enjoy watercolor painting. That's all I want. I like it so much. I just want other people to like it. And if that's not happening, and you, especially if you watch my videos and you're going to tell me I was so bad at teaching you how to do it that you threw it away, that you put everything away, then I want to help. Okay, what I'm doing now, so this is kind of our third layer of things here, right? What I'm kind of doing now is I'm trying to add a little bit of depth, a little bit more depth and a little bit more roundness to things, maybe. I can adjust the tinting, right? I can adjust the color a little bit if I want to be a little warmer up here, a little bit more on the burnt umber, since that's what we're using. If I want it down, something a little darker here, maybe a little thicker, maybe a little bit more of the Payne's Gray, a little bit more of the ultramarine blue down here. Trying not to be afraid of some color mixing on the page. That's going to help make it look more interesting in the long run. Thank you so much. Now you better get back to your tutorial. I've distracted you enough. The problem I see most with my beginner students is they expect perfection. The goal is to make it fun. Yes. My theory on perfection is that perfection is a construct designed to make you miserable. Oops, I don't want that color. We shouldn't strive for perfection. We should strive for pretty good. Perfection is one of those things that it's unattainable. By definition, perfection is unattainable, and so we're never ever going to get there. So why do we try to make things perfect? I've never quite understood that. But what I will tell you is, and I stress this to the team I work on all the time. Perfection is something that is unattainable. But by not stressing about making things perfect, you're going to make things a lot better. You'll forget that last 5% or 10% that's going to make you nuts trying to do things. It's not going to add any real value to anything and lets you focus on the rest, the 80%, the 90% of the stuff that actually is important for you to do. So, right, so this guy, is my dark too dark right now? Is the color off? I don't know. Could be. Might be terrible for all I know. We're going to find out when we're done with this. But I'll bet you, if I don't stress over it, and I continue to paint and chip away at it, it's going to end up looking fine. You can look at it and go, it has some interest to it. That's cool. And we're not gonna knock ourselves out. I keep telling them, even with a loose painting, your brain can fill in the blanks and know what it is. Right. Suggest. Don't necessarily state what things are. Let the viewer's brain, whoever views your artwork, let their brain do some of the work to fill in what they're looking at. Suggest what it is to them, They'll take it from there. Yeah, absolutely. Natalie, you're 100%. Can I come and take your class? I want to come and sit in. I think I could learn a lot. I think I could. I'm not sure if you would have me in your class, Natalie. I would just sit and talk the whole time. I would distract everybody. I'm probably not the best student in the world. I might be the most persistent student, but I'm probably not the best student. Did I tell you guys the first watercolor class I took? And this was years ago. Minty and Thirsty, if you guys are still there, you might remember this. The teacher gave us an assignment for the first night. And I was like, man, that seems like a lot. I had 2 nights to do it. I did the whole thing. Turned it in. And he's like, what is all this? I'm like, well, isn't this what you assigned to us? He's like, yeah, this was the entire quarter. Like, whoops. I did everything. I didn't do it all right. And I'm glad I had the rest of the quarter to fix it. But we go very slow. Piano. Okay, I don't know what does piano mean. I don't understand piano. Something just dinged on my phone over here. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about the phone. But look, he's starting to look better, isn't he? He's looking better. I'm gonna do a little work here on his bill. On his bill. He's a water bird, so it's a bill. Yes, Carrie. Good question. Natalie, do you have a channel? Natalie, if you're teaching, you should have a channel. Send all your students there. Piano is slowly in Italian. Oh, interesting. All right, look, I'm learning stuff all the time. I never knew anything about piano. I'm going to say that to my kids, and they're all going to look at me like, what are you talking about? I'm going to say, no, Natalie told me. They're going to go, I have no idea what you're talking about. Piano, I like it. All right, I'm going to wait for the dark around here to dry. It's gotten a little thick. It's gotten a little, I don't know. It's gotten a bit thick, and I'm not loving it. I don't hate it, but I'm not loving it. I got to do something to fix it a little bit. But I'm going to get to it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to paint a little bit of the background that's back here. I'm going to do it very quickly. As you all know, backgrounds aren't necessarily my thing. I'm going to do it very quickly, and we'll see how it goes. I'm sure it'll be fine. There we go. A little bit on his, whatever that thing is. A little bit there. I think I'm going to use a bit bigger brush. I have this big Da Vinci Casaneo brush here. And I like these. I got these when I thought I would be doing a lot more plein air painting, and that might not be the exact right way to explain this. I bought them to do more plein air painting with. This is going to be a better way to explain it. And then I quickly discovered I don't want to use these for plein air painting. I like other brushes better for plein air painting, and so I don't use them anymore. I use, actually, the Da Vinci brush that I just pulled out used to always be in my plein air travel kit. But I have some other mop brushes and some, how do you say it, Kolinsky Sable round brushes that I use. And I should say, I'm just going right over top of this girl's toenails. And I'm not going to worry about it. The toenails are going to be a dark color, and so I don't have to worry about it. Right? The dark's going to cover up this light color anyways. If we wanted to, we could add a little bit of something on here. Right, just to add a little bit of texture here and there, something like that. I don't think it matters all that much. Looks a bit rockier, I guess. There we go. I have a channel, but rarely post. Also, my channel is Mixed Art Project. Ooh, that can be cool too. When we toured Italy in October, we heard it constantly on the old cobblestone streets. That would make sense. Okay, now here's what I'm going to do. I told you I was going to use some of this yellow ochre to warm this up, and I think I can do this with this big brush, and it's not going to cause too much of an issue. If I do this quickly, I should be able to just put a really nice glaze right over top and warm his whole body right up. The whole thing, come on. The whole thing gets warmed up, and I don't know if you can see it at the moment. Look at the difference of that in his head. Right? Total difference. And now the other thing I want to do is I want to make a couple of these spots a little richer in color and let a couple be a little less rich in color. But not do it in getting any puddles where there might be a back run on there. Cobblestone streets. Cobblestone streets seem so neat, but I'm betting they are the biggest pain in the tuchus if you have to spend any time on them. I bet they're not a lot of fun most of the time. But they sound neat. I know that I grew up with covered bridges, and everybody's like, oh, covered bridges are so cool, they're so neat. And I'm like, yeah, I guess, except you have to slow down and stop and let one car through at a time. You can't go through two cars wide, and you probably don't want to go through right back to back, but yeah, they're cool. I imagine it's similar, not the same thing. All right. Give me my orange. That orange is this azo orange is such a crazy color. It's such a vibrant, hot color. I just want to define a few areas in here. Right? Maybe he's got some marks on his feet here in his webs. There's a little bit in that webbing. I put just a touch of that burnt umber in here. I think just a touch of burnt umber just mellows that azo orange down that little bit. Just kind of tells it, hey, 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 settle it just a little bit. Because if you don't have it somewhere in there, a little bit of something like that, man, that azo orange will eat up all of that. I mean, it's so bright, right? And quite honestly, it might be the least transparent color I have of any on this on my palette, and it's a little disconcerting because I like them to be a little bit transparent. See, I'm gonna put a layer of this orange right over top. Maybe a little bit more water than that. There's a hair. It's going to keep this beak nice and bright. And there's going to be some other places we can just dab a little bit of this orange to help bring this all together. But I think, yeah, look, he's got that beautiful orange, reddish orange beak there. Well, you know what I didn't do? I didn't do this last week too. I didn't do it, and I didn't do it this week and last week. So I've got to do it. My arms. My arms didn't get painted. The insides here. Maybe a little bit. Let me gray this down. Just a bit. There's a bit of a shadow in there, a little bit. Same thing on this one. I want it to be warm in there, but not too warm. Yeah. Don't go in there. Okay, I can live with that. I can live with that. See, he's getting there. He's getting there. We keep chipping away at him, and he's getting there. The one thing I don't have is his eye, and I know, and I'm kind of holding that in abeyance. Paintbox Life. I don't even know. I'm not even sure how to pronounce that. That's beyond my vocal capacities on a good day, let alone today. I'm certain I can't say that one. Let's see. We got some. I'm hoping that's not too much. There's one. Let's get one over here too, right? There we go. Got a couple of toenails on there. It's just looking good. Now I happen to know that this head portion is still damp. And quite honestly, whereas I like most of this sounds of cobblestone. I got it. So sometimes you got to beat me over the head with things. I get it. Kudu. Something like that. I get it. It's cobblestone. I'm with you. And you're probably right. I was going to paint something down here. Not going to paint anything down here. Those toenails are still wet. Can't paint anything here. That's wet. Inside of his wings are wet. His head is wet. His beak is wet. What can I do here? I'm not sure. What I am going to do is I'm going to take some of this color while I'm waiting. I'm going to take some of this color and I'm going to make kind of like another line up here. Give me some of the orange. There we go. Maybe Maybe a little bit more down here. I'm just trying to bring some of this orange up a little bit. A little bit in there. That way it's not going to look like it's totally just a big orange thing hanging out right there. I'm looking at this painting, and I've got this little, yeah, see, my azo orange let me down here a little bit. It's okay. It's okay, azo orange. I still love you. You're still good. I'm just going to go around you a little bit. I'm going to do a side run on you here ever so slightly. Don't sweat it. We're still friends. There we go. I'm going to do a line. Here. Give me a little extra color. I'm going to do a line here. Is it looking any better? I can't do on the bottom down here. Let me pick it up. I can't do on the bottom down there, but I want to get a couple of lines on there just to give that a little bit more interest, or what I think is a little bit more interest than it has currently. How are we doing up here? Now, we do have this little area, which I can't get to because I just noticed I got wet paint there, and I got damp paint there. I got damp paint here. I can see it. I got damp paint there. So I have to wait for a second. Anybody doing anything fun this weekend? I feel like this is too far over that way. Let me move you. Well, that's a little better. You can see me a little bit more directly. Anybody doing anything fun this weekend? I'm not. I'm asking if anybody else is. I hope everybody is. Hope everybody has something fun to do. I'm doing the same thing I do every weekend. I'm going to play with my chickens. I'm going to do a little fishing. I'm going to do a little yard work. It's not a complaint. It's it's what I like to do. RV show. All right. I like the RV show. Are you just looking, or are you going to buy one? I want an RV. Now, this isn't strictly an RV, but I'll tell you, when I was growing up, my dad was pretty handy, and he did two things. One is he bought an old Dodge van, which at the time was not anything groundbreaking or exciting or anything like that, right? He bought an old Dodge van and set aside making it into a camper. I don't know how much time or money he spent to make this thing into a camper, but when he was done, right, it had the beds in it, it had a fridge, a stove, it had curtains, it had a patio, had everything in it that you want in the old camper van. And he did it all himself, right? It had the tables, had that folded down into beds. It had, what else did it have? Had the captain's chair. So this is where I slept, right? It had captain's chairs in the front that you could swivel, right? If you're looking at the front of the vehicle, you could swivel them this way, and then you'd put a board in between them and a pillow on top of it, and that was the bed. That was where I slept, across the front of it. That was a kind of a cool thing. Everybody, okay. Somebody's got some Loverboy, some Loverboy songs going through their head. Looking for now, making dreams become future plans. That's cool. And then I don't know whatever happened to that camper van that my dad made. And then he bought something called a trans van, and it was part camper already. It was the front of a Dodge van in the back of a camper, and somebody glued them together. And he put a back patio on it, and I don't know. We traveled the country in that thing. It was actually pretty. I'm gonna say it was actually pretty fun. Don't tell him that. It'll just even at 85, whatever. It'll go to his head. I don't want him to. But it was a pretty fun thing, and I remember that trans van. My brother and I would try to steal the CB radio, and so it has a couch that folds down into a bed on this side, and had the fridge and the stove and everything on that side, and it had this little walkway up the center, right? And we would sneak up there. In fact, lots of times my brother and I, as my dad's driving down the highway, we'd put a blanket over top of that over top of that walkway, make it into a tunnel, and then we'd crawl up and down it. But we'd crawl up and down there and then take the CB off of there and try to talk on the CB without him catching us. Usually it didn't work. Usually he caught us and yelled at us, but it was kind of fun. If I won the lottery, I'd buy myself a truck camper and hit the road. There you go. There you go. If I won the lottery, what would I do if I won the lottery? If I won the lottery, I don't actually know what I would do if I won the lottery. I don't play the lottery much, and so maybe I don't think about it all that much. I always used to tell all my friends, if I ever win the lottery, you better have some vacation days saved up, because we're going, deep sea fishing or something like that. So I might still do that. I probably, even though he's getting close to past the age where he should be driving, I'd probably buy my stepfather a Corvette. He's a big has been for the entire time that I have ever known him. He's been a huge Corvette fan, so I'd probably buy him a Corvette. Be the last car he ever has. It probably, hopefully not for the wrong reason, it's the last car he ever has, but it probably would be the last car he ever has. I don't know. Make sure my wife gets a new car, a good new car or used car, whatever she wants. I think she likes the car she has now, but get a little safer one, maybe. I like my car. I don't need a new car. I really like my car. I'm finally on my second car in 10 years. I kept my old little car for a long, long time, and it was so good to me. I hated to get rid of it. Actually, I didn't get rid of it. I hated to hand it down, but I had to hand it down. When I was a teen and we camped, my parents slept in the camper, and the truck camper was my bedroom when I wasn't sneaking out, that is. So here's a camping story for you. I remember camping at a well-known campground in western Pennsylvania at Pymatuming State Park. Right? There's a big lake there, Pymatuming Lake, Pymatuming State Park, and similar to you and your parents, Natalie. My parents would sleep in the camper. My brother and I would sleep outside in a tent, right? Which is all well and good, right? No big deal. We were semi outdoorsy. partially feral, and so we had no problem sleeping outside. We were there one weekend camping like we did regularly, and a storm rolled in, and it's 10 o'clock and the tent's shaking like this, and my brother and I are like, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. My dad comes out and he goes, I think you guys should probably come in the camper with us. Well, okay, fine. You want us to come in a camper? Fine, we'll come in a camper. Not a big deal, right? Got up the next morning, the tent was gone. I don't know how high the winds were. I know the camper was shaking quite badly. Apparently a little worse than I thought it was, but we got up in the morning and the tent was not anywhere to be found. It was just completely gone. Michael, can you please do a tutorial painting a Highland cow? I absolutely love them. A Highland cow. So what you're saying is we've just done a whole month of surf and you want some turf. That's what I'm hearing. Kind of a surf and turf. I could probably, I don't know that I'm going to do a great job with a Highland cow, but I'm willing to try. I like Highland cows. Did I do one before? I must have done one before. A Highland cow. All right, I'll do a Highland cow. Sure, why not? A Highland cow. Maybe we'll do that all for what's the next month? Serpent, I beat you to it. February. February? Is that the next month? Are we in February? I don't know. Everything runs together. Yeah, so maybe for February we'll do barnyard animals or something. Then I can paint a goat or something. I don't know, paint a chicken or something. I don't know. All right, I'm up for the I'm up for the barnyard animal challenge, the Highland cow. All right, Highland cow. All right, I'm on it. Highland cow. You might have to remind me though. All right, let's see what we got here. I think that was still just a tiny bit damp right there. When did I last do a Highland cow? I once saw a tent flying so high I thought it was a balloon. I watched it come back down. It was very surprised. A fully assembled tent. Wow. I don't know if mine went up fully assembled or if it came down fully assembled. I don't know how much it had been torn apart on the ground. All I know is I wasn't in it and none of my stuff was there in the morning. It was just gone. It was just gone. Never, ever to be seen again. Still gone to this day. Just, I don't know. I'm sure I was not happy about it. You made me come in here and now I lost all my stuff. Not thinking I could have lost all of me. I think I lost my bike during that one. I think I found my bike, but it was like 100 yards down the road or something like that. I don't remember. I remember it was terrible. But it happened every now and again. Just a little tornado. Just a little tornado. See, that eye needs a little help. And we got some work to do down here too. We're getting close. I promise you, we are getting close. I don't know how long we've been streaming for, but we are getting towards the end of this. We will get there eventually. I'm not going to ask if you guys want me to put a shadow underneath him down here, because I know the answer is going to be yes. He doesn't really have a shadow. I don't know he really needs a shadow. He's got that little, oh, my paper is a little warped. He's got that little thing under his chin there. A few things I want to touch up on here. But we're not far off. I want to do this. I want to get some of this color. I want to put it right there. I want to make a nice line right there. And then I just want to pull this up ever so slightly. Right, they have that line right there. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I mean, it's a line, right? I mean, let's call it what it is. It's a line. I don't know anything more about it than that. And it's a line. Let's give his eye a little extra work here. There we go. It's all right. Puffin makeup. The ground kind of has a little shadow already. I want to make it a little rocky and a little, bumpy there without doing too much to it. I will admit here, I think my dark got away from me a little bit. I liked it last time a little better. I think at second layer, I think I got on there too dark. And I feel like I needed to pull some of it off. In fact, I feel like I still need to pull a little bit of this off. Like right through here. I feel like it just got a little bit too dark. It got a little bit away from me. And remember, I always used to say I hate painting black. I don't like painting things that are dark. I think this is why. And that burnt umber is such a weird pigment, or can be such a weird pigment, that it doesn't just stay down. It lifts very easily. And so now I feel like I need to go back and put on a very light layer here. Lighter than that. Come on, lighter than that. There you go. I just needed to not do that quite so aggressively on that. I believe it was the second layer. If that could have gone on lighter, I think this whole thing, his whole head, could have shown a little bit more. And that's on me. That's on me. I should have just, I talked about it at the beginning, going very light, gotta go light, can't go heavy. And then I didn't listen to myself. I didn't. The art looks great on camera. Okay. I'm going to go with that. Thank you, Natalie. I'm going to go with that. No, it doesn't look bad, right? That's the whole thing. I don't think it looks bad, but if you see down, well, it's not going to show. But that looks more caked on. It's heavier than what I wanted it to be, and I got like, like a spot here that's heavier than I want it to be. And if I had done, if I'm doing it on a Saturday morning, I do 2 extra layers on there, and it's probably exactly the same. And there's no reason I couldn't have done that now. I just didn't. I don't have anybody to blame but myself. But it's not, and I don't even say that to mean it's ruined or it's terrible. It's just, it's not turning out the way I thought it was going to turn out. So, you say it looks fine on camera. I'll if I take this and hang this in my office, right, and I put it on the wall, and people see it from, 8 feet away, nobody's going to notice that little bit of paint is put on too dark. That's a me thing as I'm looking at it. That's all it is. Whoops. There it is. I'm trying to look to see what else I need to do on this guy. And there's some little detailing that we can do. Little things. All right, let's make an extra line there. Let's put an extra line here. Let's make sure. I got this is the littlest, tiniest brush I have right here. Let's make sure that this has that indentation all the way across on it. It has some fantastic color right there. I like that a lot. To me, that helps. Let's see if we can brighten up his eye a little bit with a little extra color. All right. Well, he's got more of a smirk. He's got more of a smirk than that guy. But that's okay. That's okay. I like his feet. I do, since we warmed this up, I like his body. He's got this wavy bit to him. I wouldn't be opposed to coming back and putting a little, making this round down here. Look, it looks like Ms. Perkins has joined us. Hello, Tracy Perkins. Welcome. Unfortunately, Tracy, you're coming right in at the end. But I mean, thank you for joining. It's just great. It's fantastic to see you again. I hope you're doing really well. Hope that new job is not keeping you too busy. I don't even know if you call it new anymore. It was new before. But I'm just finishing up here. And how long have we been doing this? An hour and 50 minutes. Holy cow. We've been doing this an hour and 50 minutes. And it seems like it's been like 25. Okay. So I am going to call this guy all but done. And now I looked at him and some of the colors run into there. I just need to save it. Reserve that black. I'm going to call him all but done. Next month, I'm so happy you caught me too. Thank you, Tracy. Next month, I guess we're going to be doing, oh my Lord, I just looked on there and I leaned in and you can see all my gray hair. We're going to be doing farm animals, barnyard animals, something like that. So we just got done doing surf. We just got done doing surf. Let's do some turf now, and I'll get the Highland cow queued up, and we'll get on with doing that. I want to thank you all for joining me on this Wednesday over here on YouTube and over here on Twitch. I'll try to make that integration a little bit better. Thank you all for making my Wednesday fantastic. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Hope you're able to join me back here again next week when we do this whole thing all over again. Until then, thank you so much. Bye-bye.